ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಗಣೇಶ್. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯರಿ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ನಂಬರ್ 4 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಆಗಿ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಏನ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಏನೇನು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನೇನು ಪವರ್ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ನಂಬರ್ 2, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು another part of it because it's a lengthy chapter. So for the better understanding, we'll be going to the part 2 of the same chapter, that the judiciary system. So ಈ ಒಂದು ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸಬಾರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಕ್ರಿಮಿನಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸಗಳು ಏನೇನಿದೆ, ಯಾವ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಅವರ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಕ್ರಿಮಿನಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಪನಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬಹುದು. ವಿತ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಲೋಕ್ ಅದಾಲತ್. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ video number 2. That's a continuation of the judiciary of India. Okay, so the first we just try to understand as to why there was a need. If Supreme Court as well as the High Court was there, then what made the necessity for to have the subordinate courts? As you are aware that since the population of India is very vast and we have various geographical features, topology is different. So what had happened, those two courts was not at all enough in order to have, as and when the population increased, there were more number of conflicts which was happening and more number of rules regulations were supposed to be formed. So because of this reason, what had happened, we were supposed to have a number of cases which was been filed. In order to support all these things, then we decided to have, that is India decided to have, let us have one subordinate courts. In that, let us have one civil court separate, then criminal court separate. So if we do this, more of cases of will be decided soon, and apart from that, justice will be given. Otherwise, we courts used to take their own sweet time in order to solve one particular problem. So because this is the brief history, general history in order to understand what made to have the subordinate courts. Now, the similar way, even like that only, even there was also Lok Adalat which was formed, which is the cheapest means of so-called as getting justice to the people. And as and when we finish with civil as well as criminal courts, as along with the revenue courts also, what we can do is that we'll try to understand what is the main reason why Lok Adalat came. So once when you understand this, this would be a conclusion part of it. We'll conclude on the whole, like including video 1 and video 2, what we are learned in this particular topic. So let's start. You can see the first slide of mine. Page number you can just open for your better understanding. Page number 54 to 58. This video number 2 will be covered. That is subordinate courts, the revenue courts. In that you can also include the Lok Adalat and the conclusion part of it. So let's understand the civil court as well as the criminal court. So these are the two important subordinate courts which comes under so-called as the High Court. Okay. What is the civil court? If you see the slide number 2, you can see that the civil court, every district has a civil court and the district judge is a chief judge for this. The chief judge would be the district judge who will be in charge for the civil court. So the person who will be appointed as a civil court, the civil court judge would be appointed by the governor. So governor will be for one particular state. Okay. So then the district judge. So what is the qualification which is needed in order to become a civil court judge? The district judge should have served as an advocate as a lawyer in any court of the state for a period of minimum 7 years. 7 years less than that, it's not possible to become a civil court judge. Okay. So majorly he will be appointed by the governor, and each district has a civil court, and the district judge is the chief judge who is the person who takes care of that particular civil case. Then civil courts settle disputes. What are the jurisdictions or what are the cases which this civil court under civil court jurisdiction it will come? So cases which is relating to the disputes relating to civil matters, like for example the property. There's a different what is it, property issues between between the two parties. Then if there's a dispute between the land, then monetary transactions if it is there, anything relating to money part of it, then marriages will be there, the divorce will be there, and other civil matters. All this comes under the jurisdiction of the chief judge, who is the district judge of that particular civil court. Okay, they also can hear the cases which is low in the civil court, the cases which is being there and which they are not satisfied with the low court judge. The civil court, civil they can apply for the civil court. The parties can apply for the civil court for the review or the appeal, and they can get the justice relating to that. So this would be the main functions of the civil court. Apart from that, civil courts settle disputes relating to civil matters, as I told you, the property, the land, marriage, divorce, and other aspects. In these civil codes, these civil codes consist of there are four important other subdivisions. That is, court of subordinate judges, the court of additional subordinate judges, the court of munsifs, and the court of additional munsifs. They all come under the civil code part. So then this would be the small brief about the civil code. We also have one more subordinate code under the High Court, that is called as the criminal code. Okay, the criminal code had its birth in April 1974. The highest criminal court at the district level is the session court. Okay, what are the matters which comes under the criminal code? The criminal code, it takes place, that is, there are matters which relating to something more like a murder or the robbery, dacoity. All these cases comes under the criminal code. Okay, it has the power to issue death sentences and also life imprisonment. In case of civil code, most of the imprisonment and all is only they try to give more of the cases in civil code will be dealing with the punishment part of it. Okay, here the civil criminal code, if the crime is committed very criminally, and the jurisdiction of the criminal court, if it comes, the particular judge who is the session in the session court, they can also have the judge can give the death sentences also will be there. That is a power which is being given to the civil criminal court judge. Okay, and the next, there are other common criminal court functions, and the criminal courts are the chief magistrate court. This court does not have the power to pass death sentences, okay, or the life imprisonment sentence. However, it can impose 7 years imprisonment. So even chief magistrate court, in this court, what will happen is that whatever the criminal cases which happens, they can give only the punishment part of it, but they can't give any death sentences. That is, the death sentences can be given, nor life imprisonment sentence can be given. Only 7 years imprisonment along with the fine. That jurisdictions or that power is only being given to the chief magistrate court. We also have one more court called the first grade magistrate court. This court has a greater power and can impose punishment up to 3 to 5 years, along with the 3 years of fine, whichever is the higher one, and fine would be 5,000 rupees, which can be imposed, whichever the cases comes under the first grade magistrate court. Second grade magistrate court, this court has the power to impose punishment up to 2 years or the fine of over 1,000 rupees. As you can see, there's a difference between the criminal case. Under that, there is a chief magistrate court, then first grade magistrate court, the second grade magistrate court, the third grade magistrate court also is there. Then, so this the third grade magistrate court has got only the power to do the imprisonment, 1 month imprisonment. That's it, or the fine of rupees only 50, or any both, any whichever is the higher one. Okay, both the district as well as session courts are one and the same, with the same judge passing judgment in both. When the court takes up the criminal matters, it is called the district court, and when the court takes the civil matters, it is called the district court, and when it takes up the criminal matters, it is called as session court. So this would be the various functions of the criminal code. As you see, when I read out the various chief magistrate court or first grade magistrate court or the second grade magistrate court, you can see based on the hierarchy, the power of that particular court also reduces. Okay, chief magistrate court, 7 years, he can give the punishment. There's a first grade magistrate court, only 3 years, along with the 5,000 rupees. Anyone can be, or both can be imposed. Second grade magistrate court, only 1,000 rupees and 2 years of fine can be given. The third grade magistrate court can give only 50 rupees, or both, anyone can be given, and with 1 month imprisonment. That's imprisonment, a jail and hakadashte. So whichever the type of cases which has been taken, the district and the session courts are one and same. And what they do is that based on the judgment, judgment can be given for both. If the district and the session courts, if they're taking, for example, the civil matters, it is called as a district court, and when it takes up the criminal matters, it is called as a session court. Session courts handles the criminal matters, The district court handles the civil matters. So this would be the thing which we need to understand, the civil court as well as that of the criminal court, and what are the courts which under comes under the civil as well as the criminal court. Based on the understanding of after understanding the civil as well as criminal court, we just come back to the another one court that is called the revenue court. Majorly, the word revenue refers to relating to the taxation, money matters and all. There are revenue courts in every district. They take up the cases which is relating to land tax, the land records, something relating to so concrete, the static one, or something which is movable, which is not movable, immovable property issues. Revenue code comprises of the following codes. Under this also we have different codes. Revenue codes are main. Under that there's so many sub codes which is there. The Tahsildar, the name only includes the Tahsildar code. The Tahsildar the code is the lower code among the revenue code, and the Tahsildar is a judge. The name only says the Tahsildar will be the judge, and this is the lowest code among the revenue codes. Then we have the district subordinate subdivisional officers code. The assistant commissioner is the judge in this code. Okay, district revenue court or the district magistrate court existing in every district. Okay, then we also have the last but not the least, we also have the commissioner court. This court takes up appeal against the judgment of the district magistrate court, whatever the judgment by chance if it's been taken by the district magistrate court. So the then whatever the this court takes up the appeal against the judgment which has been given by the district magistrate. Anyone is not satisfied, the party is not satisfied with the district magistrate court decision, what will happen? The commissioner court has the power to take those cases and try to solve the try to resolve the issues. Then we also have the revenue board. This is the highest court dealing with revenue cases. So various types of revenue courts, as I told you, if you just once again to summarize, so this mainly in each district we do have the revenue courts, and they take up the issues relating to land taxes, the land records, and other aspects. So in this, we also have the subordinate or comprises of revenue courts comprises of the Tahsildar code, the district subdivisional officer code, the district revenue code or the district magistrate code. Then we also have the commissioner code, then the revenue board. So these are the 5 divisions of this code. Apart from that, as I told you, as and when the population increases, more number of cases are there, more number of people become greedy. So, more number of cases was piled up in High Court, then Supreme Court, then even in case of more disputes, various types of disputes happened relating to the land, border, and other aspects. And so to solve all these problems, there was a subordinate court which came to existence. Even that also was not sufficient. So judges used to find very difficult for each and everything. What they used to do is that they used to cases were filed up like anything. So now what had happened? Now Lok Adalat was one more thing which was being taken out. Okay, Lok Adalat or the people court, which was being started for the easy moving of the people. So this is how it took place. In fact, the Lok Adalat or the people court, 1985, it was being started. So the major things of this Lok Adalat, the main purpose of it, it took upon cases from public, from prior parties who mutually agree to settle the cases amicably. So Lok Adalat or the people court, what we call it as, in this court is being formed not in almost all the states. Very few states like Gujarat, in Karnataka, and other few states only it is being formed. You should have heard about Mr. Santosh Hegde, who is noted for Lok Adalat, who was a judge over there. So cases which is relating to mutual agreement, who are ready for the mutual agreement, such sort of with amicable understanding. So such cases will be given in case of Lok Adalat. So the foundation of this Lok Adalat as a court came into existence in 1985. So what is the benefits of this Lok Adalat? It takes up the cases from parties who mutually agree to settle the cases amicably. The cases which have not yet been disposed of by other courts or the high courts can be settled by Lok Adalat. If we are okay, so and in the cases which is not been settled by the High Court or the Supreme Court, such sort of cases would be dealt by Lok Adalat or the People Court, which is being formed. So the major functions of this Lok Adalat would be it lays stress on compromise. So compromise like amicable understanding, what I say. So both the parties, they make them sit and they make them understand, okay, what are the benefits, how we can sort it out, all these things they will be doing. And it is the fast as well as the cheapest means of so what is it, the case where the disposition is being given as well as the judgment is being given. Okay, so this is the main advantage, and moreover, the fees over there in Lok Adalat is also very less. In fact, apart from that, Lok Adalats take up the cases relating to cases which are the cases which has been dealt by Lok Adalat. It is the vehicle accidents, the land possessions, the banking, the marriages, and all these sort of cases is being usually handled by Lok Adalat. The judgment given by Lok Adalat will be having the weightage as equivalent to that of the civil court judgment what has been given, and this will be final as is binding. That's the reason cases which is not which is not handled by the high court or any other courts, then that sort of cases who are ready, those parties who are ready to have an amicable understanding and who wants to get the case sorted out for them, this actually Lok Adalat plays a very important role. So this is also doing a very good job in case of the state like our country, state like Karnataka. The formation of this is in 1985. So I think I almost all covered in the second video of mine, majorly about the subordinate codes, civil code, what are the functions, what are the criteria, what is the boundary, what is the limitations of civil codes, what are the limitations of the criminal codes. Under civil codes, what are the sub codes which comes, and what are the sub codes which are under the so-called as the criminal codes and revenue codes, what actually deals with it, and also what are the sub revenue codes which is available. So last but not least, the Lok Adalat, why it is being formed, when it is being formed, what are the cases which is been taken by Lok Adalat. So finally, I'll just try to I'll conclude with this part, saying that there are types of courts as you say according to hierarchy. If you just see in the picture, Supreme Court, High Court, District Court. Under District Court, there are two: Civil Court as well as the Criminal Court. Under the Civil Court, we have the Court of Civil Judge and the Court of Munsif. Criminal Court, we have the Court of Session Judges, Court of the Chief Judicial Magistrate, First Class Judicial Magistrate, and the Second Class Judicial Magistrate. So these are the things which we have actually taken and tried to cover it. I hope I have made myself clear and made you people bit understand about what is the judiciary part of it. So that's how it is. Since it's a lengthy chapter, I thought I'll divide it into two and try to explain. In the first video of mine, you have studied about the Supreme Court as well as its functions, why it is being formed. Similarly, the High Court, why it is being formed, and what are its functions when it is being formed. So the Indian judiciary, according to the judiciary, which is an independent, in order to the judgment has to be given, all the politicians and other the judges of the Supreme Court or the High Court, they should be biased when giving the judgment, and they should not come under the influence of any so-called political party or the politician. So if that's the case, country like us, where we have multiple problems which is being faced day to day, they can give the justice for us. Hope I made myself a little bit clear about what are the topic of the judiciary, which I wanted to explain. And any doubts, we'll just try to have an interaction section in the future. Thanks for your patience listening, and hope I made myself clear about this part, this chapter. We'll see very soon in the next chapter of mine. Stay study well and be safe. Thank you.